The swamp was quiet in the early morning, covered in soft fog that moved slowly above the dark water. Tall trees stood close together, their roots twisting into the mud like old hands. Birds watched from the branches, silent and alert. This place was calm but never fully peaceful, as if it was always hiding something. A park ranger named Adam walked carefully along the wooden path near the swamp edge. He had worked in this reserve for many years and knew every sound it made. The smell of wet soil and old leaves felt familiar to him. Still, that morning felt different in a way he could not explain. Adam stopped when he noticed something unusual near the water. A small boat rested between thick plants, partly hidden by vines. Its paint was faded, and water had filled part of it. Boats were not allowed this deep inside the protected area. He slowly moved closer, scanning the area around him. There were no people, no voices, and no fresh footprints on the soft ground. The boat looked like it had been there for a while. Adam felt a small knot of concern grow in his chest. As he stepped closer, he noticed another boat not far away. This one was larger and tilted to one side, stuck in the mud. Both boats looked abandoned, and neither had a clear reason to be there. Adam frowned, feeling uneasy. He radioed the ranger station to report what he saw, but the signal was weak in the swamp. The radio made a soft crackling sound and then went silent. Adam sighed and clipped it back to his belt. He walked around the first boat, checking its sides and inside carefully. There were no fishing tools, no safety items, and no signs of recent use. Leaves had collected at the bottom, and insects moved freely across the surface. Adam felt his heartbeat slow but steady as he moved to the second boat. This one had a torn cover lying inside it. The cover was old and damp, and something about its shape caught his attention. It did not look like it had fallen naturally. He bent down and gently lifted one corner of the cover. Inside were several bags, sealed tightly and stacked with care. They were not marked and looked heavy. Adam's expression changed as concern turned into alarm. He did not touch the bags further. Training had taught him to be careful in situations like this. Anything left hidden in the swamp could mean trouble. He stepped back slowly and looked around again. The swamp remained quiet, but the silence now felt heavy. Adam could hear his own breathing and the faint sound of water moving under the boat. The feeling that someone might be watching crossed his mind. He checked the area again and noticed broken branches nearby. They were snapped in a way that suggested recent movement. Adam swallowed and tried to stay calm, reminding himself to think clearly. He moved back toward the first boat and looked inside once more. This time he noticed a small object wedged under a seat. It was a phone, damaged by water but clearly not old. That detail made his concern grow stronger. Adam stood still for a moment, thinking about what to do next. Abandoned boats, sealed bags, and a damaged phone did not belong in a peaceful nature reserve. This was more than a simple rule violation. He took a few steps away from the boats and tried his radio again. The signal was still weak, but he managed to send a short message. He explained the location and said he had found something serious. After sending the message, Adam decided to leave the boats untouched. He marked the location using his GPS device and took a few careful photos for records. His hands felt slightly shaky, but he focused on his task. As he prepared to leave, he heard a soft splash behind him. Adam turned quickly, scanning the water and trees. Nothing moved, but the sound stayed in his mind. He began walking back toward the main trail, keeping his eyes open and his steps quiet. Every sound felt louder than before. The swamp no longer felt calm. Adam reached a clearer area where his phone signal was stronger. Without hesitation, he took out his phone and dialed emergency services. His voice stayed steady, but his words were urgent. He explained that he was a park ranger and had found abandoned boats with suspicious items inside. He shared the exact location and described the scene in detail. The operator listened carefully and told him help would be sent. After ending the call, Adam leaned against a tree and took a deep breath. He knew he had done the right thing, but questions filled his mind. Who left the boats, and why here? The fog began to lift slightly as the sun climbed higher. Light filtered through the trees, touching the water with a pale glow. The swamp looked peaceful again, almost innocent. But Adam knew better now. What he had seen was only the beginning. Whatever was hidden in the swamp had a story, and soon it would come to light. He waited for authorities to arrive, staying alert and ready to guide them back. The quiet around him no longer felt empty. It felt like a pause before something much bigger unfolded. The wait felt long as Adam stood near the main trail, listening to the swamp around him. The air was warmer now, and insects buzzed softly in the distance. He kept checking his phone, hoping to see a message or hear a sound. His eyes never stopped moving. After some time, he heard footsteps coming from behind him. 2 local officers and another park ranger appeared through the trees. Relief showed on Adam's face as he waved them closer. He quickly explained everything he had seen near the boats. The officers listened carefully, asking calm questions. They checked the photos Adam had taken and noted the GPS location. One officer nodded and said they would move carefully. The swamp was not an easy place to work in. Together, they walked back toward the hidden boats. Adam led the way, stepping slowly to avoid noise. The swamp seemed quieter than before, as if it was holding its breath. Even the birds had gone silent. When they reached the first boat, the officers stopped and looked around. They examined the water, the plants, and the ground nearby. Nothing seemed out of place at first glance. Still, their serious faces showed they felt the same tension Adam had felt earlier. They moved to the second boat where the sealed bags were hidden. One officer carefully lifted the cover using gloves. The bags were still there, untouched. Their size and weight raised concern, even without opening them. The officers decided not to open the bags right away. They said a special team would need to handle that part. Adam watched as they marked the area with tape and took detailed photos. Everything was done slowly and with care. As they worked, one officer found something else near the water. It was a small notebook, damp but readable. The pages were filled with numbers and short notes. None of it made sense to Adam, but it clearly did not belong in the swamp. The discovery made the situation feel more serious. The officers exchanged quiet words and stepped aside to make calls. Adam stood nearby, feeling a mix of worry and curiosity. He wondered how deep this situation might go. Soon, more vehicles arrived near the trail. Additional officers and specialists stepped out, carrying equipment. The peaceful reserve now felt like a place of mystery and concern. Adam had never seen this many people here before. One of the specialists spoke to Adam directly. They asked him when he first noticed the boats and if he had seen anyone nearby earlier that week. Adam answered honestly, explaining his routine patrols and the quiet days before. The specialist nodded and thanked him for reporting the situation quickly. He said that early action mattered in cases like this. Adam felt a small sense of pride, mixed with worry about what might be discovered next. As the team continued their work, Adam was asked to step back for safety. He watched from a distance as they examined the boats more closely. The sealed bags were carefully moved onto a secure surface. Time passed slowly as the sun climbed higher. The fog was gone now, replaced by bright light reflecting off the water. The swamp looked normal again, which felt strange given what was happening. During the wait, Adam noticed movement across the water. A small animal ran through the plants and disappeared. His heart jumped, but he quickly realized it was nothing serious. Still, his nerves remained tense. One officer returned to speak with Adam again. He said they had confirmed the items were not natural and likely placed there on purpose. That confirmed what Adam had already felt deep inside. The officer also mentioned the damaged phone found earlier. They believed it could help identify who had been there. Adam remembered how fresh it had looked despite the water damage. That detail stayed in his mind. As the investigation continued, Adam thought about the reserve and the people who visited it daily. Families walked these trails, children played nearby, and visitors came for peace. The idea that something hidden and troubling existed here made him uneasy. The team decided to secure the area for the rest of the day. Signs were placed, and paths were closed temporarily. Adam helped redirect visitors, explaining that maintenance was underway. He kept his voice calm and reassuring. Most visitors accepted the explanation without question. A few looked curious, but none pushed for details. Adam felt thankful for that. He did not want panic or rumors spreading. Later, Adam was asked to give a formal report. He sat with an officer and described every detail from the moment he saw the first boat. He spoke slowly, choosing his words carefully. Writing the report made the morning feel real in a new way. Seeing his experience put into words reminded him how unusual the day had been. He signed the report and handed it over. As the afternoon approached, the specialists prepared to leave with the secured items. The boats were marked for removal later. Adam watched as the area slowly returned to quiet. Before leaving, one officer thanked Adam again. He said his awareness and calm actions likely prevented something worse. Adam nodded, feeling tired but relieved. When everyone was gone, Adam took one last look at the swamp. The water moved gently, and sunlight shimmered across the surface. It was hard to believe the place could hide such secrets. He walked back toward the ranger station, his steps slower now. His mind replayed the discoveries again and again. Questions remained unanswered, and he knew the story was not over. That night, as Adam closed the station doors, he felt a strange sense of unease. The swamp had shared only part of its secret. What came next would change how he saw the reserve forever. Morning light filled the ranger station as Adam returned for duty the next day. The events of the swamp still felt close in his mind. He made coffee and reviewed reports quietly. The building felt calm, but his thoughts were busy. Later that morning, an officer arrived to speak with him again. The officer carried new information and a serious tone. Adam listened carefully, standing near the desk. He knew this visit meant the case was moving forward. The officer explained that the sealed bags contained items that should not have been stored in a protected area. They were linked to illegal activity far from the swamp. Adam felt a chill, realizing how close danger had been. They also shared news about the damaged phone. The device had been traced to a group using waterways to move hidden items. The swamp had been chosen because it was quiet and rarely checked. Adam clenched his hands softly. Hearing this made Adam look at the swamp differently. The place he protected every day had been used without respect. It felt personal to him, as if someone had crossed a line. The officer thanked Adam again for noticing the boats when he did. He explained that timing mattered. If the boats had stayed longer, the situation could have grown worse. After the officer left, Adam walked outside and looked toward the tree line. The swamp shimmered in the distance, peaceful and unchanged. It felt strange how beauty and trouble could exist so close together. That afternoon, Adam joined a patrol team returning to the area. They wanted to make sure nothing else had been left behind. Adam agreed, knowing the land better than anyone else. As they walked the trails, Adam pointed out hidden paths and quiet corners. The team listened and took notes. They checked the water carefully, scanning for signs of boats or tracks. Nothing unusual appeared at first. Birds returned to their songs, and insects moved freely again. The swamp felt alive and calm, almost welcoming. Still, Adam stayed alert. His eyes followed every ripple in the water. He had learned that calm could hide many things. They reached the spot where the boats had been found. The water was clear now, and the plants had shifted slightly. Without the boats, the area looked untouched. One team member paused and said it was hard to believe anything had been there at all. Adam nodded slowly. He understood that feeling very well. The patrol continued deeper into the swamp. They found no more items and no signs of recent movement. After hours of searching, they agreed the area was clear. As they walked back, Adam felt a weight lift from his chest. The land he cared for felt safe again. At least for now. In the days that followed, the reserve reopened fully. Visitors returned, laughing and walking the trails. Children pointed at birds, and couples took photos near the water. Adam watched them quietly, feeling proud of his work. He did not share details of what had happened. Some things were better left unknown. At night, Adam still thought about that first moment he saw the boats. He realized how small decisions could change many lives. Choosing to look closer had mattered. Weeks later, Adam received a letter from the authorities. The group connected to the boats had been stopped, and the route through the swamp was shut down. The letter thanked him again for his role. Adam folded the letter carefully and placed it in a drawer. He did not seek praise or attention. Protecting the land had always been his purpose. One evening, Adam walked alone along the boardwalk as the sun set. The water reflected orange and gold light. The swamp felt calm and honest again. He stopped where the first boat had been hidden and looked around. Only plants and water remained. It felt like the swamp had taken a deep breath and moved on. Adam smiled softly and continued walking. He knew his job would always bring surprises. Nature was beautiful, but people sometimes brought trouble with them. As he reached the end of the trail, Adam felt stronger and wiser. The experience had changed him, but in a good way. He trusted his instincts more now. The swamp returned to its quiet rhythm, watched over by someone who cared deeply. Adam remained alert, ready for whatever came next. His story with the swamp was far from over, but for now, peace had returned.